Hello, everyone, and welcome to another podcast of Leaders Connect series. I am so delighted that you are here with me. I hope you've had a great week, and I hope your weekend is off to a great start. If we haven't met before, my name is Essie Daniel, and I'm joining you from Seattle, Washington. And we are going to have a great time. Today, we're going to talk about habits of highly successful people. And I don't want to say they are 10 or they are 5 because I may skip some so that I can focus or pay more emphasis on the most important of the ones that I have listed. We may even have to do part 2 of this video. So welcome. And let me know where you're joining me from. It's always a pleasure to be here with you. So do you sometimes look at the highly successful people and you wonder, how did they get there? What does their morning ritual look like? What do they do in the evenings? I wish I can, and maybe even say, I wish I can be a fly in their house, a fly on their wall, so that I can watch and see what it is that they do different and I can adjust my life accordingly. That's me. I've done that. I've thought that so many times, and that's what prompted me to look into what it is that they do that is different. And I came up with some things. The statistics I'm about to share, I gotta give a disclaimer. These are before the pandemic, the 2020 pandemic. So the numbers may not be accurate. As we know, things have changed since COVID-19. Some of the numbers may have gone up or gone down. And someone like Elon Musk is way up there. At that time, he was not the number one richest man in the world. You see how things can change. But anyway, let's talk about the habits. It's not about how much they make. I want us to talk about the habit. All right, so habit number 1. They read a lot of books to gain knowledge. A great leader is a reader. They read books. And reading books gives us an opportunity to meet the greatest leaders that have lived and transitioned onto the next life, and also the greatest leaders that are alive today, but not easily accessible due to different reasons. And that's why I am encouraging us to take the time to read books. When you read, you become better, you're sharpened, and you can use the principles that you're learning to sharpen yourself and your business or whatever it is that you want to get good at. So one of the habits of highly successful people is that they read a lot of books to gain knowledge. And I want us specifically to look at someone like Bill Gates. Bill Gates reads 50 books a year. Let that sink in. 50 books a year. How many weeks are in a week? 52 weeks, right? So that means Bill Gates reads close to a book a week. Yeah? Isn't that incredible? That is amazing. And guess what? I recently had the privilege and the honor of meeting someone who reads 1 book a day. And I thought to myself, whoa, that's a goal. That's a goal that I would want to hit. At least 1 book a week, but 1 a day. Oh, I will have arrived there, as we say in Kenya. But that is such a huge achievement to be able to read a book a week or even a book in a day and then do it consistently. This person reads consistently. So, but then when you sit down with that person and you're having a conversation, you can tell that they've been to places that not a lot of people have been to. Why? Because of the power of reading. Reading helps us gain knowledge. It takes us to places we've never been and we will never be, or we may never be. And it introduces us to leaders we may never meet on this side of the world or life. All right, point number 2, they make exercise a priority. A lot of times, exercise is not scheduled in our weekly activities or even in our daily activities. It happens. But these highly successful people we are talking about today, the likes of Bill Gates and Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg and Bill Gates and many more, Richard Branson and many more, they do things, specific things that set them apart. And one of them is exercise. Exercise improves problem-solving ability. And I've been in meetings where I've seen very strong and powerful leaders make difficult decisions in a twinkling of an eye. And I wonder, how did they get so good? Obviously, they took baby steps, right? But there's more to that. They've read often, right? And they exercise frequently. Exercise is a priority. And I was very surprised when I came across this point that problem solving is something that we lack in the world today. But these highly successful people that we're talking about, they are good at this. Why? Because they exercise frequently, and exercise is a priority. So let's look at someone like Richard Branson. Richard Branson wakes up at 5 a.m. to surf, swim, or play tennis. Can you imagine that? 5 in the morning, when sleep is sweetest to most people. Richard Branson is up, swimming, surfing, or playing tennis. Why? Because exercising improves problem-solving ability. How about someone like Mark Cuban? Mark Cuban does an hour of cardio 6 to 7 days a week. And the man is wealthy. The man is successful. You see, the more you have many responsibility, the better you need to be, the better you need to be at problem solving. To whom much is given, much is required. And so create the time to exercise. Make exercise a priority. Tip number 3. They set a strict schedule for themselves. Things don't just happen to them. You can just pick up the phone and get a hold of them and you fit in their schedule. That's not how it works. They have a very strict schedule for themselves. Let's look at someone like Ben Franklin. Ben Franklin has a habit or had a habit of rising up at 5 a.m. and he attributes a name to each and every hour in the day to maximize his time. So if it's 3 p.m., he has a name for 3 p.m. He knows exactly where he needs to be and what he needs to be doing. And he would ensure that he's doing exactly what he needs to be doing. Many of these people don't allow the interruptions of phones and social media and all that to distract them. If anything, someone like Mark Zuckerberg, he's created a distraction for us, but he himself is not distracted. I want to talk about him briefly, Mark Zuckerberg. He minimizes his daily decisions by doing what? By wearing the same outfit every day to leave his decision-making capacity to something more creative, such as investing or inventing Facebook. Let that sink. He sets a specific style aside, and that's him. That's who he is. He wears this outfit, this same outfit every day, so that he's not wasting time trying to figure out, oh, what do I wear today? Oh, no, he wants to leave that special gift. That special gift, the decision making, to something more valuable, making bigger decisions like investing into something else, into his company and inventing it. I thought that was pretty neat, knowing how well we get distracted from social media, we ourselves, right? So that is another example. How about someone like Elon Musk? A few years ago, before he relocated, Elon Musk, the founder of SpaceX and Tesla Motors, he used to schedule his time in, and I don't know whether he still does this. I would not be surprised if he still does. But this statistics that I'm sharing today was before the pandemic, as I mentioned in the beginning. And so things may have shifted and adjusted, and especially since we know that since then he's relocated, since the statistics. But anyway, here we go. Elon Musk, founder of SpaceX and Tesla Motors, he schedules his time in 5-minute blocks. You know how someone will send you a message and say, Essie, can I have 5 minutes of your time? Not available, because it is assigned to something else. Yeah, that would be Elon Musk's response, right? And so before he relocated, Mondays and Thursdays, he had devoted that time to SpaceX. And then Tuesdays and Wednesdays, he had devoted those days to Tesla. And then Fridays, he would split the two. He would split his day or rather his time between the two companies. You see, these guys are not joking when it comes to their schedules, their time. Time is valuable. It's the most precious commodity that we cannot multiply, or rather we cannot make more of. We can multiply our time by making smart decisions, but we cannot create more time. And so what smart people do, or successful people do, they, especially with companies, you'll see that because they're not able to be in two places at once, they set very strict schedules for themselves. They do very good training for their staff so that they can multiply themselves and have more people doing what they can, and they focus on just what them can and should do. I don't know whether that makes sense, but I hope it did. So, dear listener, set a strict schedule for yourself. We talked about that last week during our last podcast, and I want to encourage you that you take a look at that time factor. Don't let your time just go away without knowing how you've spent it, because you will never see it back. So use it wisely. Next, let's talk about prioritizing. Pick 3 things that you need to do each day and do them well. Don't worry about doing 7 things or doing 5 things or doing 10 things. If you can just pick 3 things to do each day, and do these 3 things first thing in the morning, you will succeed, especially if you do this faithfully. Bright in the morning, when you wake up, when you're strong and your energy is high, take care of these 3 things. Brian Tracy, in his book, Eat That Frog, talks about that at length. So if you want to read more about prioritizing, look for a book by Brian Tracy that's called Eat That Frog. All right, point number 5, use, and I can never talk about this enough times. I know you've had this, but please bear with me. Something that I valued has helped me. Use weekends or Sundays, maybe Saturdays, to plan out your week and plan tomorrow before you get out of bed. What that means is every week, know what you're walking into. Have a goal. This is what I want to achieve by the end of this week. This is how I will reward myself. These are my priorities for this week. These are the habits that I want to adopt. These are the habits that I want to give up. Know these things. Put it down in writing. And take that planner with you so that you can know for sure where you need to be and what you need to be doing. Because when we don't do that, when we don't keep these lists, our goals where they're visible, we forget and we get distracted. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened there. And then the other thing is start tomorrow. Don't plan to start tomorrow before going to bed. In other words, complete your day in paper, in writing before you even begin it. So you know exactly what you're doing at what time. You see, between the distractions that we have right now in the world and the nonstop cycle of news, it can be hard to stay focused. And I know that. We have all these amazing networking, maybe not even networking, social media platforms, which can keep you going. You know, one time I took the time to see the bottom of Facebook wall, and I kept on scrolling, and I never saw the bottom of the wall. And that's when I realized that I would need to make sure that I time the amount of time I'm on social media, and I give myself 10 minutes a day. Sometimes I don't even post anything for a few days. But for at least every week, I make sure that I record something. You'll find it on YouTube. I always make sure every week that I record a podcast. I make sure that when I get on the Facebook platform, there are specific groups that I am a leader or I'm involved in, like our community, Facebook closed communities with our clients. I make sure that I get in there and I see what's going on, but I time myself so that I'm not spending the whole day there. And I pick 5 people that I'll comment to their posts. I pick 5 groups that I will respond to real quick. Sometimes I may even use generic responses if I need to, like happy birthday messages. But I do what I must so that I can guard my time. Because these distractions, they're right and left. But every Sunday, I choose to spend time on my planner and I walk through my goals and I make a decision what it is that I want to achieve that goal. And what I do is I make sure that I align every goal with my monthly, my quarterly, and my annual goal. I know things happen. Life is not guaranteed. Things happen. We make mistakes. Someone will call for help, and we must stop what we're doing to go and help them. especially family and close friends, right? But even though we do that, when we have a plan, we fall back on our plan. And this approach to planning keeps me focused across different functions so that I can be as strategic as possible in my day-to-day planning. Let's look at one more and then we will continue next time. The other thing that they do is that they go to bed early and they get enough hours of sleep so that they can wake up early. There's a saying that my mom used all the time. She used to say, early to bed, early to rise. If you want to be successful, if you want to be an effective leader, you want to make sure that your body is getting enough sleep. Take time to be refreshed. Your organs, your body need time to recoup, to regain energy, to refresh. And that can only happen when you're resting. So take the time to get enough sleep. I'm not going to talk about sleep because I'm not a professional in that area, but ensure that you're getting your hours of sleep. Is it 7 hours of sleep or 8? It depends on your age as well. But try to get enough rest so that the next day when you wake up, you're refreshed and you are ready to face the day. Because your success will be determined by how well you rest, how well you exercise, the books you read, how well you plan out your life, right? How is your schedule? How are you managing your time? The books you read and the priorities that you set. Those are the things that will determine the quality of the life that you live. They will determine your success. And of course, there are many more points, but today I need to stop right there so that I can invite you to take a few minutes after this, take a paper or a book and a pen and write down what you need to do different. Where is your time going? What are your 3 priorities? What are habits you need to give up? What are habits you need to adopt? And which books are you going to read this week? Don't try to read a book in a week if you've not read a book in a month. Maybe you've not even read a book from start to finish in a year. Maybe you haven't. So set a goal that is achievable. Decide on the book you're going to read and make a decision that you're going to start as soon as possible. You can start tomorrow. Just wake up 30 minutes earlier than you normally do, or even 1 hour earlier than you normally do. Take time to read, take time to meditate, take time to pray. Then this week, set some time aside, maybe on Sunday evening or Sunday afternoon, and schedule your week. What goals do you want to achieve this week? And then before you go to bed, complete your day, next day in writing. What are the 3 top priorities of the next day? What are the 3 things that you must achieve? Write those things down and hit those goals. Get those things accomplished first thing in the morning upon waking up. It's been a pleasure to spend this time with you. I hope you've learned something, and I want to invite you to spend some time after this to do some adjustments. We are halfway through the year, and I would want you to go back and review and see how well you're doing with your goals. And if you're planning to have a different kind of a lifestyle, which we all do. Take time to reflect, see where you are, review your year and what it is that you're doing every week. Check and find out where your time is going and do some adjustments. Essie Daniel here with Aspire Global Leadership and also Leaders Connect series podcast. It's a joy to always be here with you. And until next time, it's a bye-bye.